Hey, what's going on, Internet? It's Khalif here again, and I'm back with more Synergy Source, my blogging project where I talk about philosophy, spirituality, things of that sort. So I've been making these cult pictures and posting them on Instagram with some short analysis for about 2 years straight now, once a day. Pretty proud of myself. But I'm starting to get a little wanting to switch things up, so I'm starting to make these videos to make some more engaging content. To start, I've been going over my quotes from the from the past year. So today's January 5th, so we're going to be talking about the quote that I posted on Instagram on January 5th 2021. And yeah, that's all the intro stuff. Let's got that out of the way. Go on to the quote. All right, so today we talk about the quote: the art of being happy lies in the power of extracting happiness from common things. And that's Henry Ward Beecher. Man, this is literally going to be a reoccurring thing that every time I read these quotes, I have no idea who the person is. Like, it's like only Aristotle, Einstein, Abraham Lincoln. Those are the only people my ignorant ass knows. But anyways, I'm sure I'll Google something and find something nice about this guy. But yeah, so yeah, this is another quote I resonate with. It goes back to the, it kind of ties into the same principles I was talking about in the last quote of reading the Tao Te Ching and just general Taoist principles. The simplicity, compassion, and patience. The more simplistic things are, the better. The wording, I'm looking over my notes. I'm making sure I don't go too far off the rails. I like making notes. Okay. The wording of the art of being happy, I wrote, implies that to be happy requires some learning, some skill, and some effort. So I think it was the first video I talked about. We were talking about what art is and how artistry requires some skill, and yeah, it does require like some formal understanding of the medium. So the art of being happy, it heavily implies that life itself is one of those artistic mediums that you need to have a fundamental understanding of in order to get the most out of it, to make it yours. So I'm going through my notes. The art of being happy involves what I've always considered, it's like psychological alchemy. So alchemy is the modern definition is just mixing or use of chemicals. Is it always tied back to the old school? I know I get mixed up because I know the ancient understanding of alchemy was actually turning matter from one thing to another. So like the Midas touch sort of thing, to actually turning random metals into gold and things of that sort. So alchemy is the general concept of turning one material into something else, preferably for to increase its value or usefulness. So I've always considered the ability to turn bad occurrences, bad thoughts, bad just anything that's a negative thought, and turning it into a positive, something that's either you can learn from, something like criticism. You turn that into something that you actually use to construct you use the criticism constructively to actually better yourself and become better at your craft, better personality, whatever it is. I've always considered that a sort of alchemy of sorts, because you're turning something that other people don't necessarily turn into a positive. It's a skill in and of itself to get criticism, or not even always criticism. You could get insulted by someone, and if you're able to rationalize that insult, you're able to think it through, remove yourself from the situation, remove the person giving or making the insult from the situation, and if you can actually extrapolate whether or not there's any truth to their insult, to see if there's anything that you do need to rectify. I mean, I don't know if it's a saying, but whenever an insult lands and it actually hurts your feelings, nothing hurts your feelings that doesn't have some sort of bearing in truth or some sort of actual basis in reality. If somebody were to call me a wife beating asshole, I wouldn't be insulted by that because I don't beat my wife. But if somebody were to, I don't know, make some comments about my weight or whatever that is, if I feel like I have issues with my weight and I'm not feeling super confident about that, then I might not necessarily take it the same way. But on the other side of the same coin, I can always recognize that that's the feedback that you get whenever you are, that's a worldly feedback that reflects internal dialogue, so that resonates, that becomes truth, or at least reflects something that might be in the basis of truth. So I'm kind of getting off the rails here a little bit, but I still think that's the whole concept of psychological alchemy, turning things that aren't necessarily good into something that's good for you. That's definitely a skill, and it goes into the art of being happy, I think, because it's definitely it requires some skill, it requires some learning. Alright, sorry, that was the first time I ever had to make a cut in these first 5 videos, which is something for me to be proud of in and of itself, but yeah, whatever. You don't need to be too worried about that. I'm gonna get back to my notes because I got off the rails a little bit. So, last thing I wrote in this Taoism section is on the Tao Te Ching mentions making defeat and disappointment impossibilities by changing your mind around what victory and success are. So, if you are able to always, it's kind of in some ways, because I know Taoism always also is a lot about dissolution of the ego, trying to remove yourself and your own wants and needs from situations and letting things be. But I think that's a form of ego protection, in order to if you're able to make things that might feel like what people call an L a W in today's standards. Like if let's see, say you're trying to get a date and go out and you talk to a bunch of women and they all reject you. You could dwell on that and say, oh man, I'm getting rejected, got no luck or whatever. Or you could wrap your mind around, or you could, if your goal instead is just to attempt it, just to try, then you're a winner. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take, and compared to the dude that's not taking any shots, the guy that's out there trying, the quagmire Johnny Bravo dude that's getting shot down 50 times a day, that's the real winner. So it's a matter of wrapping your head around things in a different way, to where you're not going out in the world in a win or lose situation. You're going out in a learning situation. So I think that's always been something I've always liked. It's I remember I got into Taoism because a Halo player sent around emails sharing a book that was heavily inspired by the Tao Te Ching, and was trying to introduce people to the Taoist principles, because the Halo community definitely needed a lot of ego work back in the day. It was a lot of people that are constantly pointing fingers at one another, constantly talking down on each other, their teammates, themselves, and things like that. So there was gamers have always needed like that cultural shift away from beating people to being good at the games themselves. Like I can, another Dr. K reference. I remember he was talking to a competitive, I think Counter-Strike, StarCraft, one of those. He was a European gamer who he was talking to them about how they constantly when they were playing against players that they felt weren't as skilled, they would trash talk them and say like, oh, you suck, you're so bad, I'm so much better than you. And then when they would go and play against the best of the best in the world, they would automatically put themselves into a mindset of comparison of, oh, now I'm the one that sucks, now I'm the one that like has no chance. Like the same part of his mind that was denigrating players for being bad was also denigrating himself for not being as good as the best players in the world, and it was holding him back from actually competing at the highest of his potential, from seeing where his faults in his play are, seeing where the other people are making faults, and he could capitalize on them, because he was constantly in this mindset of these people are better than me, these people are better than me. So it was stopping him from actually progressing. So I think that was that's also a really important thing for people to get past if it ever becomes an obstacle in their world, which it once was in mine, which is probably why I am rambling about it. I'm off the rails again. Sheesh. Anyways, all right, last little bullet point I had here. So yeah, the art of being happy lies in the power of extracting happiness from common things. We see this is a truth that rich people are showing us constantly all the time. I mean, we've got people that are like super rich, famous people that still unfortunately end up, they take themselves out because of whatever, well, I mean, you know, we could always say it's chemical imbalance issues leading to mental health atrocities like that. But I'm not sure if that's too simplistic of a way to look at things, because if that was the case, then it'd be really easy to solve them, I would think. But then again, people have to be convinced to be treated, things of that sort. Anyways, I'm not trying to argue that right now, but the point I was trying to make is that people that still have all of their material wants fulfilled still have to find satisfaction elsewhere in life. Otherwise, they show the same signs of, you know, depression and lack of vitality and things of that sort, which, you know, people that are on the lower end of the socioeconomic spectrum never have as much sympathy for these people, because it's a Maslow's hierarchy of needs thing. When you're when you're so concerned in your waking life with keeping yourself alive physically, you know, you need to work these 18-hour days to just make sure your roof is over your head, your food is in your stomach, etc. You don't necessarily have the time to be worried about things at the top of that pyramid of needs, which are self-fulfillment, you know, personal quote-unquote success, social success, and things of that sort. So you know, there's a disconnect in society to where, you know, people don't have sympathy for each other on either ends of things. But that doesn't mean that it's not true that, yeah, rich people, just because someone's rich doesn't mean that they're happy, you know. And people are like, oh, happy, money buys happiness, but it's like, well, not if you don't know what to buy, or some things you can't buy. Like my bullet note I have here is personal fulfillment, relationships, mental, physical, and emotional health. If you became rich through screwing everybody over, you know, shirked all your familial responsibilities, you insulted and distanced yourself from friends, by the time you get to that top of the mountain, it's gonna get kind of cold up there, man. You know, people need to the things that make people happy, make them happy throughout the pyramid, throughout the entirety of the whole hierarchy of needs. I think needs and wants aren't necessarily the same thing, but it's something to think about. It's definitely something to think about. So yeah, this quote's got me going. Got some things to look into. But yeah, the art of being happy. I really like that, the way that's being put, the art of it, because it's something that requires some skill. It requires learning, and it does require effort. You don't just get to be happy. It does require conscious effort to tune out things and to hone in on the things that are sources of joy. And that's not something that that's not something that comes natural to everybody, and that's not something that it's something that some people always struggle with, it seems. So yeah, I'm starting to ramble way too long. I don't know how long this one is. 14 minutes. Sheesh. I gotta edit all that shit. All right, whatever. Thanks for listening. If you did, I appreciate you. Click around, listen, find something else I've done. I'd appreciate that. And yeah, take it easy and find something that makes you happy.